morning. Can I have apologies for absence, please?
Thank you, Chair. We have apologies. No apologies, sorry.
Any disclosures of personal or prejudicial interest from any of the committee, please? No? Okay, thank you for that. So we will have all have the running order for today. Have you had a copy of that?
Yes, I do, thank you.
You've got a copy, so you know the way the things are going to run. We don't need to go through it again. Okay, if you're happy with that, thank you.
I'm happy to take through, just so that everyone understands.
Okay, if you're happy to, thank you.
Basically, what will happen is that the licensing officers will read out the report. Once that's been read out, then the councillors will have the opportunity to ask questions of the report. Once they've concluded that, then you as the applicant will also have an opportunity at that stage. If there's any queries that you've got in respect to the report, you can ask them at that stage. Usually the matter will then be opened up to the representatives. I propose in this situation that the statements will be read out, and then obviously there's no questions to be asked because they're not there to answer questions, and then the floor will be yours in order to explain the purpose of the licence, why you want the licence, etc. And then once that's been done, then the council will have the opportunity to ask any questions that they have to yourself. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ed. So now we go to the officer who will take us through the papers and exactly what you're asking for this morning, okay?
Morning all. The premises is the Landgrove Park Mill Southgate, Swansea, SA1, SA3 2AB. The applicant is Sharon Naomi Craig, and it is an application for a new premises licence. An application for a new premises licence was received by this authority on the 24th of April 2023. The applicant has applied for a premises licence to allow the following licensable activities to take place: supply of alcohol Monday to Sunday, 12 p.m. until 9:30 p.m. A copy of the application and plan is attached to Appendix A, which can be found on pages 7 to 27, and A1, which can be found on page 28. Background: the premises is a cafe, coffee shop located in Southgate. A location plan is attached to Appendix B, which can be found on pages 29. Promotion of the licensing objectives. The Licensing Act 2003 contains 4 licensing objectives, namely the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. Each of these objectives is of equal importance, and the application must demonstrate how they are to be promoted. Conditions which are consistent with the operating schedule and will be attached to the licence if granted are attached to Appendix C, which can be found on pages 30 to 31. Relevant representations. Representations have been received from 3 other persons. A copy of the representations are attached to Appendix D, which can be found on pages 32 to 35. Policy considerations. Considering this application, members should have regard to the current statement of licensing policy, the policy which can be found at the following link in your packs. Guidance issued by the Home Secretary. Members should also have regard to the relevant parts of the current statutory guidance. The guidance issued by the Home Secretary in December 2022, in particular, Introduction, Chapter 1, Licensing Objectives, Chapter 2, Applications for Premises Licences, Chapter 8, Determining Applications, Chapter 9, Conditions attached to the premises licences, Chapter 10, Statement of Licensing Policy, Chapter 14, and Regulated Entertainment, Chapter 16. A link to the full guidance can be found in your agenda packs. Determination of the application. The decision must be based on the individual merits of the application and the representations received, with a view to promoting the licensing objectives outlined in paragraph 5 of the report. In arriving at the decision, members should also have regard to the relevant provisions of the policy and the guidance as previously provided. Reasons must be provided for any departures from the policy or guidance. In reaching the decision, the committee must, having regard to the representations, take such steps mentioned below, if any, as it considers appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. A. grant the licence subject to conditions that reflect the operating schedule, modify to such extent as the authority considers appropriate for promotion of the licensing objectives. Certain regulated entertainment under the Licensing Act 2003 as amended has been deregulated. Where entertainment is deregulated but licensable activities continue to take place on any premises, any licence conditions imposed on a grant of a licence in respect of any deregulated entertainment will be suspended. Any mandatory conditions relevant to the licence. B. Exclude any of the licensable activities to which the application relates. C. Refuse to specify a person in the licence as the premises supervisor. D. Reject the application. In view of the representation received, the licensing subcommittee's instructions are requested. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Does anyone on the committee have any questions for the officer, please? Okay. So now we go to the objections that are coming in written form. We're not going to read these out, are we?
It may be appropriate just to air them, just so that I'm sure the applicant is aware of the objections. They appear in the papers. It may just make sense just to air them because the hearing's being recorded.
Okay, so do we ask the officer to read them out?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So the first objection, James Newcombe. Good evening. Please also note that Redacted, who owns the Landgrove Health Club and lives on site, including Redacted manager of the Landgrove Health Club, have also said that they do not want the licence or alcohol on the premises. They are due to address the individual due to the problems. I believe an overzealous cafe manager has requested this without consulting the owners. Your comments as below. Would you be willing to expand upon your objection, citing the 4 licensing objectives: the protection of children from harm, the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, and the prevention of public nuisance? In line with your request, please see below. I write this email in regards to the application for an alcohol licence at Landgrove Health Club. I live and own Landgrove Cottage and the lane leading to the health club. My family and neighbours object to the licence due to the current issues: speeding, antisocial behaviour and threatening behaviour towards my family and neighbours, which have been logged with the police by members of the health club due to them not following the lane speed and to stop discarding rubbish. The lane is and has children and animals, including pedestrians, walking up and down. Our current issues on the narrow private lane include that of speed and speed bumps and chicanes that have been placed in the lane to try and slow down the traffic. Alcohol reduces the ability to drive safely, and the actions could be overly compensated, resulting in young children, animals and pedestrians being hurt, not to mention oncoming traffic. The lane is also a private lane that I own. There is a wayleave for club members to use the lane as long as they are respectful and follow the rules. We are having confrontations with some members due to them not wanting to follow the rules. These people may be more of a disturbance to myself and my neighbours if fueled by alcohol. The majority of people using the gym drive solo to the gym to use the gym and classes to keep fit. Alcohol following exercise, as we know, inhibits the individual and do not condone drink driving in a rural setting leading to rural main roads. We are currently working with the police, Simon Chadwick, to try and control the above issues that we are having. We've had several meetings and conversations with the Landgrove Health Club owners, and although we have been assured they try to control their members, they are unable to put things in place to keep the lane safe, which consists of our garden and members walking the narrow lane. The concerns we have are increase in antisocial behaviour, more rubbish being dumped, increase in speeding and threatening behaviour towards family members and neighbours, and drink driving. Whilst we all agree with the Coffee and Crunch cafe shop for members of the club, we don't require or see the need for alcohol to be issued to a health club. The lane is in a private lane with a wayleave in place for members of the club only and not for general public use. The possible increase in the traffic coming into a very rural environment is detrimental to the area with the increase in pollution and noise. Objection 2. Good morning. I have lived in the Landgrove Cottage lane for more than 30 years. Landgrove Cottage lane is a private lane leading to the Landgrove Health Club and Coffee and Crunch. For years we have been suffering from speeding and antisocial behaviour. Recently, the lane has been purchased by a new neighbour who was trying to work with the owners of the Landgrove Health Club and Coffee and Crunch to control the speed and antisocial littering, music and shouting. All of this is due to his and our animals using the lane as it's part of his land and property, and we are constantly in the lane. Our young grandchildren also use this lane and pedestrians use the lane. Our neighbour has suffered from much verbal abuse and threats due to the control methods being installed and people not understanding it is a private lane. My family has recently suffered from some verbal abuse and shouting as we walk the lane with our eldest daughter being verbally abused and upset for walking the lane. Our concern is if these people are fueled by alcohol, things will escalate further. We currently have Simon, our local police officer, trying to support us, but due to it being a private lane, he has limited powers. Further to these issues, we are also concerned about the noise and control issues of the people who are travelling along the lane. This is a very quiet, private, quiet area with no noise after 9 p.m. and the last of the gym member leaves. So you can see we have a number of issues and concerns. A further and final concern would be how the traffic and its potential increasement will be managed by the Landgrove Health Club and Coffee and Crunch management. At times of there are many cars travelling along the narrow lane with near misses and cars losing control and driving through our hedge. Objection 3. Dear Sir, Madam, I wish to object to the current licence application at the Landgrove Park Mill, Swansea on the following grounds. The Landgrove used to be a country club with a full licence and a music and dancing licence in a motel. The motel is now being converted into a residential village consisting of 28 one-bedroom bungalows let on long-term contracts and the country club into a health club. The average age of our residents is 58 years. Some residents have been there for as long as 17 years. They stay because of the peace and quiet in the countryside. I have leased the health club out to Gower Community Leisure for a number of years with no issue. I gave up all licences many years ago to make sure that the peace and quiet was maintained. There was a verbal agreement with the directors of Gower Community Leisure that no alcohol licence would be applied for. Gower Community Leisure have now sublet a part of the health club to Sharon Craig for a coffee shop, and I note she has applied for a drink licence from 12 to 2100 hours, 7 days a week. The health club closes at 2100 hours Monday to Friday and 1700 hours Saturday to Sunday. There is an outside area with tables and chairs where people will be able to eat and drink. This will cause noise and disruption to residents who reside in a very close proximity to the cafe. This was the reason I gave up my alcohol licences in the first place. If alcohol is served, people will linger longer and become louder than if it is a coffee shop, which was proposed. This could be detrimental to the quiet enjoyment of our residents, some of whom class this as their permanent homes. If the premises is locked up at 2100 hours and there are still people consuming bottles in the beer garden, who will be responsible for asking them to leave if they are noisy? I hope you will seriously consider these points when making your decision. Yours sincerely, Brian Stewart, owner of the Landgrove.
Thank you for taking us through those. Unfortunately, because the objectives aren't online, we're not in a position to ask them any questions, but we will take into account what we've heard and what we've read over the last few days regarding the application. So I think we'd have to park that one for the moment, and we go to the applicant. And if you'd like to explain to us, we come to you now, and if you'd like to explain to us what you're asking us to approve this morning, and if you'd like to address some of the concerns, that would be helpful.
Can I start with the last one, Mr. Stewart, Brian Stewart? There was a bit of a misunderstanding. I've actually spoken to him since then, and I believe he sent an email to retract. I wasn't aware that the health club, it used to stay open till 10, which is the reason I asked for 9 o'clock. So we got an hour to clear out before I now realize they shut at 9. So I'm happy to go back to 8:30 so that we are out. And he's agreed, if that is the case, that he's fine with it. I believe he told me he sent an email stating something to that effect. So his main concern was the hours, and I'm happy to go back a half hour so that we're out. And I have to do that in any case because I am on the same security system as the health club. So when they shut at 9, I have to leave. And on Saturdays and Sundays, they shut at 5. The reason I put 9 is because they're talking about extending at a later date. But now they shut at 5 and we will be out by 5. So I'm happy to stay within the hours of the health club. As far as Mr. Newcomb, I have checked with the police. There's been one complaint in 10 years, which had nothing to do with the health club. And in the last 6 months, where the 6 complaints there has been was from him regarding the lane. Now there's speed bumps put in the lane. You cannot go more than 3 to 5 hours because they are so high. In fact, the initial ones he put in was illegal, so we had to lower them. So you cannot drive more than maximum is 10 miles an hour, which I believe is what he requests because you damage your car. Mrs. Porter, her family actually owned the health club when it was a motel and they had a license. So, you know, her saying all the complaints they've had, then it must have come from them because her family owned it. Because there's no complaints recorded about the health club or any members or verbal abuse or anything. And I have checked with Swansea Police. There's nothing. The only last six complaints was from Mr. Newcomb. You can't go onto the hedge because it's raised. So your car would have to go over a bit of a pavement to hit the hedge. So, and also they're quite a long distance from the coffee shop. So I don't understand how it would really affect it because the residents living within the site, they're not complaining. And they much closer to the coffee shop. In fact, they coming to the coffee shop and using it regularly. And I have told them that I've applied for a license and they're quite happy with it because it's not the kind of place that you're going to go to get drunk. I mean, you can't drink and drive anyway, but it's not that kind of place. It's somebody going, having a meal and a glass of wine. It's not, it's just not that kind of place. And I've had 2 other establishments prior to this, and I don't think I've ever had a complaint with the council or anything with that. You know, I think if you treat your customers nice, they tend to listen to you. So, yeah, I fear the objections. You know, I really can't see what they're objecting to.
It might be sensible for the applicant to now just go through what you're intending with the application, why you want a license. That might assist the council, the committee.
The reason I asked for a license, small business that's struggling. And I just think, you know, if people can come and relax, have a glass of wine or a bottle of beer, it will bring hopefully more custom so that I can survive. And I'm providing a service to the community, especially the ones living Cannesland, which is just slightly behind the line road. A lot of people don't drive. So it's walking distance for them to come and enjoy a glass of wine or a bottle of beer. They all, like I said, 58 and over. So it's not going to be some drunken party place. I can't see that happening. And like I said, I'm happy with the hours to go stay till 5 with the gym hours and then 8:30 drinking at time and everybody leaves. Nobody will be there at 9. So it won't affect anyone.
I just want to ask, how long have you been running the cafe?
It's just little over a week.
It's only just opened.
Yes, and this is why I can't see how any of that has to do with the coffee shop.
That's okay.
Couple of things. You're happy to bring the hours back. The other thing I read that I was a little bit concerned about was the hours that you put down for moving the bottles and that. I think you've probably copied it or just written what they usually ask for, but very rarely get 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock in the night is very late to be moving bottles around.
No, I didn't ask 11. It went up to 9, but I'm happy to go for 8:30.
It says here, no rubbish including bottles should be moved, removed or placed in the outside areas between 2300 hours and 800 hours. So we'd like you to bring that back. Would you be agreeable to that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so if we brought that back to 8:30,
Yes.
that's
happy to
okay?
do that.
Okay, thank you for that. The other thing is clearing the outside area of rubbish and that. And would you be doing that on a regular basis?
Yes, we got waste disposal with Biffa, so it's all there. So everything's in place.
Because one of the complaints was that stuff will be left around and we just want to make sure everything is
Well,
covered in
yes,
this.
sorry, I will be in breach of my contract with the health club if I allow them.
There we are.
So
That's
that
fair
won't
enough.
happen.
Okay, who's going to be trained on the CCTV? Would it be yourself?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. If you found anybody coming in there with drugs, would you have a safe place to store them until the police were able to come?
Yes, we got to say.
Right, okay. I didn't notice that. I might have missed it in the conditions, but I think we'd probably like, if it's not in there, we'd like to put that in as well, that there is a safe where they will be kept safe until the police do whatever. Okay, the other thing, who will be... Or change of hours, sorry, to the bottles. Opposite. Oh, the safe, yeah. The lady is saying now that she's got a safe to hold any drugs that are found on the premises.
Yeah. And
Is that okay? Yeah.
oh no, I have got a specific drug safe, but I just. It's just the same, so I mean, if that's one of the things I need to do, I can get a drug safe.
It's a health club. So I don't know. I'd be happier to know that if something is found, it's been put somewhere safe. It may never happen, and let's hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
But you know, to have provision for it in the eventuality that it does happen, would, I think, give us peace of mind that you've crossed all the T's then, haven't you? The other thing is, who exactly would you be serving? Because you said it's for the community. You know, the neighbourhood area where they've got a similar setup. Have they got something similar, or do the people come and visit?
Yeah, well, yes, yes.
Okay, so it's not just for
No,
that area.
no, because there's sometimes they do open days in the gym for people to come and try and
That's great.
eat. So, and this is what I also get my custom from. You know, they come and have a coffee, or they might have something to eat, a glass of wine or a bottle of beer. Yes, it will be outside, and then starting Sunday lunches, and they quite popular. So I'm going to get people from outside.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I haven't got any more questions. Any more questions?
Yeah, I've been having that difficulty as well.
Sorry, I just want to ask, is the cafe a takeaway cafe or is it just an eat-in?
The food only, no alcohol.
Well, all I was going to say is just in relation to the issues regarding a safe. I take on board what the licensing officer has said, the purpose of the safe. If it's there, it can be used. Whether it needs to go as a condition, that's fine, but it's not going to be any major, I was going to say, upheaval for the applicant if there's a safe already in place, that's all.
Or the neighbours to know that should something happen, this lady has actually made provision for it, and she has somewhere. If it's a tin box, I don't care, as long as it's somewhere. Do you know, and possibly not make it a condition, but something that was agreed, which would be better, I think. Is that okay?
There's no issue in this. It's just working out whether it needs to go in the conditions or not. I fully accept that if the applicant has a safe, then I'm sure it'll be used for that purpose as well as other purposes.
Is there anything you'd like to say in summing up, please?
Well, I just hope that, you know, you will consider and look at their representation and see it actually has nothing to do with the coffee shop. I've been going a week and a half. All what they are saying has absolutely nothing to do. There's a massive, huge, probably a quarter of a mile distance from the neighbour complaining to where the coffee shop is. And like I say, I'm under contract also to Gower Leisure. So I, besides sticking to the licensing laws, I also have to stay within their laws or I will lose my license. So yes, I just hope consider that and realize as a small business, people need anything, you know, just to survive. So yeah.
Thank you for coming in this morning. It is appreciated. And it's always better to hear exactly what you want. Sorry.
I just clarify then with you, obviously you're going to pull back your hours for sale of alcohol Monday to Sunday, midday till 8:30. And then obviously with a closing time by 9. But obviously the Land Grove is shutting at 5 currently on Saturday and Sunday. So you'll shut until 5. You've only got that 9 just for flexibility because they are talking about. So the license, is that agreeable with everyone? But they're talking about extending to bring it in line with the rest of the week. Yeah. But you will always shut the same time at the Land Grove until, so is that okay with everyone? Just to clarify, yeah?
Yep. Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Thank you again for coming in this morning. Decision be made and you will get it in writing within 5 days. But with a bit of luck, perhaps there could be a conversation later today. Is that okay?
Yes.
Thank you very much.